Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, this is Commissar here, and today I have game number 2 of this best of 3 series, the game number 1 of which I have just finished casting, between a red proto spawning in the top left hand corner of the map Ohana Beach, NaNiwa, from Sweden, and his opponent is none other than the Team Liquid Korean Protoss, up 1-0 currently in this series, Liquid's HerO. So, of course, HerO taking a very decisive, crushing win over NaNiwa in the first game. He just executed his strategy pretty flawlessly. I'm happened to be a bit lucky that NaNiwa had such a heavy sentry opening, because, of course, Blink Stalkers are brilliant at sniping off sentries, and the force fields on the ramp are not super effective. Okay, so game number 2 should be a little, well, hopefully more interesting. In general, Ohana, what do you see on Ohana? Basically anything, I think, normally. It's a little harder to go Blink on this map, just because your cliff space is a lot smaller than it is on, where were we last game? I think we were on Antigua, it was. So yeah, you have a lot less cliff space. Blink, a lot less potent. Stargate builds, Robo builds, most common, I'd say. But in general, yeah, just go for whatever you like and make it happen, because anything is possible when you have the skill of these two players. Well, it's a bit perhaps over the top, but nonetheless. We do indeed see HerO getting no gas geyser early on. There is a gas geyser out of NaNiwa, and this is weird from HerO. The gas geyser is now coming, 2 of them at once, and I'm wondering if this was like timed out to be like this, or if it was a slight mistake. I think he did it last game as well, or was it NaNiwa that did it last game and HerO's doing it now? I think it might have been NaNiwa that did this last game. That's what my brain's telling me. Seems a little bit odd, but anyway, we do have the double gas coming out of HerO. At this timing, we are going to see the Cyber Core be timed out to be at the same time as that of NaNiwa. And these two players should be having different builds. I mean, the second gas geyser isn't the way for NaNiwa, but overall he'll be significantly behind on the gas count, not by a huge amount, maybe by 50 or so gas, I'd estimate. I'll say that in a moment, maybe 100 gas even. Like, not the biggest deal in the world. Meanwhile, we do indeed see NaNiwa sending out a probe in a very sneaky direction. I'm very curious as to where that is headed. I'll have to keep an eye on it. Maybe I'm going to hide and expand? I don't know. He's just scouting around for proxy locations, I'd assume, at this stage, because I can't really think of any other explanation for that, unless he does indeed hide something. I'll have to wait and keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, I do indeed see the probe of HerO inside the base of NaNiwa, getting that crucial scout where you do tell where you see whether your opponent does have 1 or 2 gas geysers. The 1 gas geyser, of course, being an alarm bell for potential 4 gates, that sort of stuff. Although generally, ramps are pretty easy to hold against 4 gates. And will we see a forceful by NaNiwa to trap this probe? Nope. It's just gonna sort of dupe those 2 units and get back for another scout, and he's gonna see the Stargate. And oh, this is interesting, because if NaNiwa, he may be showing this deliberately, he may be about to cancel this Stargate, but if he is not, his opponent will be well aware of it, and this is going to be interesting as both players at the moment appear to be going this Stargate build, and we could see some sort of cancel out of NaNiwa as it has been scouted, but I don't know. Stargate versus Stargate is always intense. That Phoenix count is just going to be so crucial. It basically comes down to who has the most Phoenixes. And does NaNiwa know? No, he doesn't. His 1 probe, which was sent around on such a long voyage, such a long journey around the map, never actually saw anything other than a couple of lasers shooting it to death, being that of the sentry, who is now in 1 kill. Okay, so HerO, it appears, has a probe wall in, or is that just trapped? I'm not quite sure. It was just trapped. Okay, so no sort of crazy wall-ins. Meanwhile, of course, in the base of HerO, we do see him adding on additional 2 gateways, as we do see a similar thing out of NaNiwa as well. Although we do see a Robo out of NaNiwa, which is interesting to me. It may be for observers, I'd assume it would be, because really you can't afford Phoenixes and Immortals and have any, yeah, it doesn't work very well, and Immortals kind of get countered by Phoenixes anyway. I'll have to wait and see, but I'd assume observers at this stage. Which would be kind of helpful, I suppose, against Phoenixes. But again, the big issue will be those Phoenix counts, and of course, if 1 player snipes a couple of Phoenixes, if 1 player gets out a couple more before an engagement, well then that player is probably going to win the game, because really, Phoenix vs Phoenix, you can imagine, the most Phoenixes tends to win, as neither player is getting any upgrades. Okay, it is going to be a big difference, of course, in the 3-gate versus the 2-gate Robo in terms of the complementary buildings from the two players. I'll have to wait and see if this Robo isn't going to be used for anything anytime soon. It may just be a safety Robo, as it hasn't been used yet. Maybe it's be like an anti-DT Robo. We do indeed see a scout being killed off here by NaNiwa, as NaNiwa does take his expand. Meanwhile, HerO appears to be expanding as well with this probe over here. Going to be a tiny bit behind on the expand, and also now getting the robotics. So the reason why Nani's expansion was a tiny bit earlier was primarily because of the lack of an additional gateway. We did see the robotics coming down, as well as 3 gateways at the HerOs, of course, where NaNiwa only ever had 2 gateways on the field. Both players are continuing their Phoenix production fairly consistently, keeping that up on very even terms, as of course the second you stop producing Phoenixes, you fall behind in Phoenix versus Phoenix. I cannot stress that enough. And the big issue, of course, is do you have any anti-air at home? Because if you have no anti-air at home, a Phoenix vs Phoenix engagement is never going to end, as they can move while shoot, they have the same movement speed. So if you start losing a Phoenix battle, you lose all of your Phoenixes basically, unless you have some Stalkers to help defend at your base. Now that's going to be interesting, what we do see on the ground out of these two players. And in the meantime, observer-wise, we do see what? Any observers on the field yet? Nope. We do see one observer just finishing for HerO. He's going to get a pretty good read on his opponent, going to see that Phoenix count, going to ensure that that Stargate was never cancelled. And meanwhile, NaNiwa is going to basically be seeing, well, what's he going to be seeing? He's going to be seeing nothing, because he has no observer. His one zealot is going to see, what, a couple of zealots and a sentry, and is going to try and escape force fields. Oh, 2 force fields used there by HerO. I would say that would be significant, baiting out those 2 force fields, but it probably doesn't matter. Just because, I mean, what's going to come on the ground from NaNiwa? He's not going to make a ground push anytime soon. That force sentry will probably have full energy before any battles happen. And oh, it's gonna die. No, it's not. It almost died, though. Phoenix is deciding not to kill that zealot, instead going to go straight for the base of NaNiwa. And what is the count? It's 10-10, and there is indeed another Phoenix not quite out. It's going to be a little bit of time before this Phoenix comes out for NaNiwa. But NaNiwa adding on a second Stargate, going to give him a better Phoenix count in just a minute or two. But the probes are falling, and a bunch of probes going down for free. Remember, Guardian Shield of a Sentry does indeed shield Phoenixes in air versus air battles. That is why we saw it popped just there by NaNiwa. And oh, NaNiwa extending a little bit too far here. If that was seen by HerO, he could have potentially lost those ground units very, very cheaply. But now the economy does show it is even. So NaNiwa's earlier Nexus has just been undone by that little push-in by HerO, that little poke. And in a couple of minutes, NaNiwa will have more Phoenixes. But until then, HerO is up by 1. And that basically means it is on HerO to try and be aggressive. Oh, also +1 attack from the air of NaNiwa. So NaNiwa is certainly going to dominate the skies if he keeps these Phoenixes alive in the next couple of minutes. He's going to be way, way, way ahead in terms of the air battle then. And that should put him in a pretty good spot overall. Although we do indeed see the second Stargate now out for HerO, now coming out. He is getting his +1 too, a little bit behind though. So we'll have to see if NaNiwa does indeed get any sort of significant lead in the Phoenix count. It is important to note, like, the difference between, like, 15 versus 14 Phoenixes is way, way, way smaller than the difference between, like, 6 to 7. So, at this stage, these little advantages become a lot less now that HerO does have the second Stargate. Now they're going to be pretty even Phoenix counts all game long, it looks like. Pretty even upgrades, apparently, too. As such, you'd have to say that this is still anyone's game. If you're wondering about the economies, that is 46 to 47 harvesters. The ground armies are identical. The observers are identical as well. Basically, these two players are in a pretty identical spot. Although HerO appears to be getting an earlier third base, as you'll see in just a minute here. It'll be ahead of NaNiwa's, for sure. NaNiwa is sending out one observer across the map. It will probably get there if these Phoenixes do see it. Oh, it's actually going to be sniped here. There is an observer of HerO, which may have just gotten vision, but no. It does indeed slip past, so NaNiwa almost getting very unlucky with that observer loss, but that did not happen. Okay, a couple of Zealots going down for free there. Gonna help out HerO a little bit in getting a slight supply edge, a slight Zealot count edge. The big difference, of course, between these two players being nothing, actually. You will see the third base being scouted over here by NaNiwa. He sees no third base yet, but he sees the The probe is already in position there. As such, you'd have to assume that HerO is looking to expand right about now. Meanwhile, we do see HerO getting ready to poke in here. He's going to try and do some damage. The Phoenixes, though, of NaNiwa are nearby. They are patrolling, and we are going to see one probe fall. And then the back out there. You can see a cannon in the middle line there. Going to make any Phoenix on Phoenix fights very, very favorable for NaNiwa if taking place over that location. Okay, these Phoenix swarms are getting very, very, very large. And you have to keep in mind, I have a unit sap. I can say NaNiwa has 2 more Phoenixes right now. If they A moved into each other, NaNiwa would win. These players don't have that, and when these units are moving so quickly and when they go on top of each other, because these units do stack up like this, you can't get a count on that. There are health bars on for these players too. They can't get a count on the number of their opponent's Phoenixes, they can just estimate, and often you see the player who's ahead pulling back because they think they're behind. It can get very messy indeed, and oh my god, a Stargate and Phoenix Rangers coming out for NaNiwa. Meanwhile, on the HerO side of things, we do see no fleet beacon. No fleet beacon like NaNiwa has. We do... Oh, well, except for that one. Because I was in the wrong tab. I missed that we already have Phoenix range out of HerO, so that means HerOs will be able to out-micro the Phoenixes of NaNiwa, and NaNiwa has to be very, very careful how he engages here, as he is going to be far, far weaker at this time. He has just lost a couple of Phoenixes. He has now taken... he's now fallen behind, rather, in the Phoenix count just slightly, ever so slightly. And I'm sorry I missed that fleet beacon, that was me being stuck in the wrong tab for too long. But meanwhile it is going to be HerO poking in again, but the ground army is here, and HerO trying to snipe so effectively, and it's very, very hard to tell who is coming ahead. As such, I want to get back into the unit tab. We do see the Phoenix range now done for NaNiwa. And now it's just going to be a purely even Phoenix on Phoenix fight, but that is going to favor HerO, as HerO does have the advantage in terms of numbers, but HerO is retreating here, and HerO doesn't realize perhaps that he has the better air force, losing a couple of Phoenixes for free, and this is NaNiwa's chance. He's getting a little bit of an edge here, but the ground army of HerO is superior to the ground army of NaNiwa. The Phoenixes are starting to drop on both sides. You can see NaNiwa is slightly ahead, but it is now back to 10 versus 10. The units of NaNiwa are very, very weak in terms of their health, and NaNiwa is going to lose his third base due to the superior zealot count of his opponent. And look at that mineral count of NaNiwa. He has not been able to spend his money. If those guys were zealots, if he had zealots with those minerals, he would have been okay here. But HerO has spent his minerals better. He has a better zealot count, and now he is a base ahead, and that is going to see him dominate the skies with 2 more additional Stargates on the way. What can NaNiwa do from here? What can he achieve? He is not ahead in Phoenix count. He is not ahead in economy. He is way behind in every aspect of the game right now. The only reason he is not dead is because he has cannons inside his natural, and that means that HerO couldn't quite push into NaNiwa's base. What do we see now? We see HerO building up to try and poke it into the main, trying to snipe a couple more units, and he is probably going to succeed here, as look at how out of position NaNiwa is trying to defend the natural. Meanwhile, probe is going to fall, and HerO just being so cautious. Not going to take any risks, but he is going to take a double-pronged attack and focus down this Nexus, and there will be a cancel for sure. I do not see this being saved. Maybe a lift-off, but if the lift-off happens, the Phoenixes are going to go back into the main base of NaNiwa and kill so many probes, and NaNiwa is going to kill a bunch of damage over here, but does he even realize he is losing so much economy over at this side of the map? And look at that, Workers killed this game 28-2. That shows you the power of HerO's poking and prodding all game long, his constant pressure, and he is now at 62-41 harvesters. He is now getting his 4th base, 4 Phoenixes at a time. The Phoenix upgrades are even. NaNiwa has no edge in this game whatsoever. It is all going HerO's way, and the supply counts are not that dissimilar. It doesn't even matter. This is a waste of a warp-in. This warp-in makes no sense at all to me. Possibly just trying to snipe this base, scout it rather, as it is no way going to be sniped. No way is that going to be sniped. And meanwhile, we may see one probe going down, so trying to do something, but no, yep, it goes down. That's all that will be achieved here. Meanwhile, of course, we do indeed see NaNiwa scouting around, and surely... Does he know about the 4th base? Does he know about the 3rd base even? No, he doesn't. So he doesn't know how stuffed he is right now. And I can tell you, he is so stuffed. And... insert lame pun or such. Anyway, so meanwhile over in the base of HerO, already getting cannons He's safe. He is so safe right now. Look at his economy. 62-41 still. No progress made by either player's last few minutes. 24 to 30 Phoenixes. That is 6 Phoenixes up. Zealot count, sure, that's in favor of, NaNiwa right now. That's not gonna last. He can't attack with that though, because there'll be cannons in the base of HerO, and HerO would be able to kill NaNiwa's air force, then just lift up his zealots before they did anything much. So right now, I suppose NaNiwa just has to try and turtle and hope that he makes it into the late game and gets to a 200 supply army. Then he'll be even on army, then he'll be able to make something happen. But until then, he has to defend, and he has to defend a weaker base than what his opponent has. And to be honest, I feel almost like HerO would probably recover better from a big engagement anyway, as long as he did some sort of damage. And I can't imagine a scenario where NaNiwa is able to somehow catch all of the army of his opponent off guard. Maybe an Archon toilet would work if he got into that super late stage and happened to get all the air units. As of course we all know air units can be one-shot by an Archon toilet, potentially. I've never seen that against Massive Phoenixes though, as of course the Mothership dies so easily. But here's another big engagement, and of course NaNiwa probably shouldn't be engaging here as the Phoenix count of HerO is superior. Keep in mind, both Phoenixes are shooting, both sides have Phoenixes shooting right now, and that is going to favor HerO so much. You can see NaNiwa's Phoenix count is crumbling right here. It is now 21 to 29 Phoenixes, and NaNiwa, I think, realized he should not have pushed out there, as that did not favor him in the slightest upgrade-wise. We do see NaNiwa having that +1 armor edge over his opponent, but 6, 7, 8 Phoenixes, they make up for that difference. And the only thing which helps the Phoenix count of NaNiwa is that his Phoenix reinforce instantly. The Phoenixes, of course, of HerO have to travel across the whole map, but how long does that take? Not long, maybe 20 seconds or so. Nothing big, but here is something big. HerO making a ton of big Stalker warp-ins over at the third base of NaNiwa, and that is going to give him way more anti-air than NaNiwa. And look at the ground army of NaNiwa. It's so tiny. He only has a few zealots. He can't deal with those Stalkers. 3 cannons plus his army could be engaged by this army of HerO, and HerO would win. HerO is 60 supply up right now. He has no ground upgrades, sure, other than Blink, which is actually really good for him right now. But what can NaNiwa do? He's down by 30 harvesters. He's down on army. He just has nothing to kill this army of HerOs with. And here's the big push. Here's NaNiwa's last stand. Guardian Shield being used to great effect, but will it be enough? I sincerely doubt it. You can see NaNiwa's army is crumbling, and before the battle is over, there is the GG as NaNiwa realizes he is completely stuffed. Okay, so yeah, if you look at this perspective of NaNiwa, there's just nothing over here. Look below the Phoenixes, there is nothing for NaNiwa other than this 1 sentry on 2 HP. With that Guardian Shield, the shield is about to die. Guardian Shield was also used by HerO in that fight, and so many more units for HerO there. So HerO just played that out super well. So much poking, so much prodding. Getting that third base was the big turning point, of course. And yeah, when both players mirror each other's builds, it becomes a true test of skill, and HerO just won that test. So good work, HerO. I hope you enjoyed this cast. It was a PvP series. If you enjoy the content, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please do tell me what you'd like me to improve, and if you don't think I can improve in any way, maybe, I don't know, have fun, sit back, enjoy the Kool-Aid, and go to a happy place. Goodbye, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on another day.